Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our Thursday morning trading session. Just one moment while I get you my monitor. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the market just opened up and it looks like it was a relatively quiet night last night, at least as far as the NQ is concerned. Let's take a look here on the Raptor, and you can see that, we'll enlarge that a bit. You can see that there wasn't too much activity. The market left off right about here. A little bit of a rally off of the soft edge here through the overnight and the Asian session. Then the London markets opened and the market continued to rally a little bit, not very much though. And now we're looking at actually a cloud crossover. You can see that we're starting the day pretty much where we left off, so in that sense it's going to be relatively neutral. There's no opening gaps or anything of that nature to consider. So we'll just give them a moment here. Actually, what I should have done is maybe shoot a trend line across these highs. All right, so there we are. Yellow bars here on the Hawk. Possible trend change coming here in the Falcon. $4,600 is a oh, sorry, we're up to, I was going to say 4,600 is a pretty popular number for the NQ. We're well past that. Now we're hovering around this 4,650 area. And it does seem as though we might, well, I was going to say we could be due for a little bit of a retracement here. It's too early to tell. I'm not going to get into second guessing what the market's going to do today. Let's take a look at gold. Gold had an outstanding morning. For those of you in the East or trading earlier than I am, gold opened here, gave a real quick little test of the extreme. You had better opportunities actually on the Falcon and the Hawk than on the Eagle, but even if you didn't catch the first signal here, which would have been very difficult, gold did give you another trend change signal right here, and just a very nice steady progression this morning. According to the trade forecaster, gold is going to be in trend mode for about another hour still, so we'll see. All right, so we're just kind of shaking things out here at the moment. This is very difficult because we haven't had a test of the extreme. Let's see what this is going to cost me to be wrong. It's out of reach on the eagle. I'm watching the Geiger counter here for a clue. Well, the sellers are pouring it on a bit. Well, the buyers are fighting it back too. Okay, what I'm going to do here is we'll maybe dial down our exposure just to a single contract. And, oh, I don't want to, yeah, I'm short. Okay. Almost thought I entered the wrong order there. And we'll cover back to here. Oh, let's do this. And we'll just keep a close eye here on the Geiger counter, see if we can't work a quick little trade. So I'm basing this mostly on the, pardon me, on this trend line, on the cloud crossover. See, there is room here if they give out. And we're almost to our first profit target. Come on, get down there. They got so close to the break-even trigger and then just went flat. Good morning, Jim. Jim's giving us some advanced decline numbers, and it looks like the market's fairly even up this morning. We got 1277 on the buy, 1281 on the sell. Tony's asking a good question. He said, I see here on the Raptor trade that there was no warning dot, and that seems to happen a lot, he says. Is that common? What happens, Tony, is that the warning dot, and now here, I'll go over to the Eagle for a moment, because the Eagle is, remember, the Raptor is a hybrid, so it's going to incorporate a lot of the elements of the other tools. What happens with the Eagle is that we get the warning dot, and then the triangle hash mark will tend to print on the same bar. If we get a similar situation in the Raptor, what ends up happening is that the warning dot gets absorbed. very often the warning dot will flash for a moment, and then as the rest of the trade parameters build, it will be absorbed by the triangle and hash mark. But it is still a valid signal. The warning dot is simply that. It is just a warning that trade parameters may be setting up. So the scoundrels here almost hit the break-even trigger. Of course, had I taken the signal on the hash mark, we would have found the profit objective, which is always annoying to me. Oops. Adam just sent me a vacation photo of where he was staying, so let me just get that out of the way. Looks like a nice spot, though. Oops, there's another one. Okay, we'll leave that alone for the moment. So there they are, challenging the highs. We're waiting for the sellers to come in, and they were pouring it on a little bit there. But I think I might have been a little bit too aggressive trying to short this market, or I should have been more aggressive. Yeah, okay. Well, it looks like they're not going to try to head lower, so that's the good news. We can try to look at buying opportunities instead. Jim's just looking at some of the other index markets, and they seem to be flip-flopping a bit. The bank is strong, then the bank is weak, the Russell is weak, the DAX is getting stronger, so they're all over the map this morning. Okay, I was going to try this. I'm a little bit late on this one too. Okay, what I'm looking at here, sorry, I'm fumbling over my tongue this morning. I'm looking at this red bar buy and a possible test of the extreme here. I'm far too late on this one, and I don't normally chase the markets, but in the room here, I'm going to see whether I can catch it on a limit. It's going to be a sideways kind of day today. Oh, I guess it would help if I submitted the order, wouldn't it? Oh, brother. There we go. I was wondering why my order wouldn't engage. Now, like I said, I don't normally chase the signal, but it's a red bar buy. We're looking for a test of the extreme. So I'm going to give this one a go. And what time is it? 6:47. Just making a note here in my trading journal. I was also watching gold. Let me bring gold over here. And I missed the darn trend change signal here on gold. I was looking to sell this one and cover it back above the high. So here I am again. So I'll throw a limit in and I'll cover it above there. And this time I'll remember to hit the sell function or the submit function. Oh, actually on gold we're going to get a second chance. We're getting a trend line touch signal. And we're right on the primary resistance. Oh crap, that's going to put it out of reach for me now. All right, back to plan A. See if we can catch it on a little bit of a retrace. And all I'm trying to do is simulate this order right here. Not to panic though, the first micro macro cross on the hawk is pending for your gold market. Okay, so we've hit our break-even stop on the Eagle trade. Just looking for them to press a little higher. Come on, boys and girls. Don't give up yet. Here we go. Come on, gold. Gold did engage our order, and it was a tricky order. The hawk has since gone into yellow bars, so I won't bring that over. But we're working on a possible trend change signal here. So, you have to bear in mind what's been going on. Gold has been in a strong uptrend, looking for a little bit of a retracement here, which is always a little difficult to gauge, especially since we're getting mixed signals. Here the eagle is showing some support off the hard edge. We had a lot of volume go through here, a lot of trading. But we'll see. I'm just looking for a short little move here back to the hard edge. Nothing too crazy. And so far the gold trade working out not too badly. Excuse me. So, let's see what's going on with the Geiger counter. I'm not real happy about this bar shaping up like that. The buyer's pouring it on still, so we'll hang tough for the moment. The hawk producing a nice first micro macro cross. You should have got your profit objective out of that one already. The raptor with a cloud crossover. Remember, when these clouds cross over, they'll tend to give a little bit of added support. Now, if you're not doing a double cloud on your raptor, that's fine too. You still get the cloud crossover even with a single cloud. Come on, buyers, hang in there. What have we got for open profit? Okay, show me $100 again and I'll take it. Okay, we'll see now whether or not that was a little premature, but the fact that they're waffling like that, oh, now the Geiger counter is hard over, so we're probably going to see it bounce a little higher. Or maybe not. The indecision of this bar had me a little concerned. You can see the volume was starting to get a little bit bigger. This bar was getting wider because the sellers were trying to fight it down. The next bar was thin, which was okay. It tells me that the buyers are in control, but then they were kind of losing their grip. And rather than just take a break-even hit, I tried to punch out with $100. I took a tick or two slip, but at least I put a little something away. So we'll see here in a moment whether or not they're going to retreat and hit me at break even, or whether they would have continued on to my profit objective. Right now, it's looking like it may have been a good call. As the market seems to be getting a little heavy on top. Look at how the Geiger counter is hard over here on the sell side, and it's just stuck there. So that's making me think the sellers are chewing through a lot of orders here. Now the buyer's fighting it back. Well, I'm not real worried about it. We did end up taking a profit, and really that's the important thing. Gold still waffling. Crude put in a little bit of a rally this morning. So crude oil opened here around 6 a.m. my time, waffled a little bit. You can see all these yellow bars, came back with a first micro macro cross here. Now this one would have been a little bit tricky to take because, hey, the market's come down a long ways. You're thinking downtrend, here comes first micro macro cross. You did have a little bit of a clue that it was going to try to head higher in the form of this higher swing low, otherwise known as a test of the extreme. Problem with crude, of course, is it's so expensive you couldn't afford to cover it. Well, I couldn't afford to cover it down there. So I'd be looking at doing something like this, I suppose, but regardless, it wasn't a problem. Crude easily found that profit target. And now they're making a major retracement. We'll put that away, and it does look like it was prudent to take the profit. I did because the market has since retreated somewhat. hard day to get a handle on. You know, we had that little bit of a run up, and I do mean little run up here out of the open, which does make the day a little bit more bullish. But it's hardly like the other day, where the market opened and we make this substantial run higher, and then that kind of really sets the tone for the day. And then, of course, the rest of the session just continues to rally. Note how well the red bar buy signals worked. This is textbook. Now we're beginning to retrace a little deeper. This could very well be our test of the extreme. As it appears the sellers are going to get busy trying to move the NQ a little bit lower. Jim says he's getting screwed on his fills. He says today the price goes to target and no fill for the second time today. Yeah, sometimes it depends your order in the queue. It used to be when things were pit traded more that a lot of times they put the larger orders ahead of yours, but electronically I don't think that happens anymore. I think you get your spot in line and it's yours. When your chance to get filled comes up, it's your order. Well, that's just bad luck. Jim says lately I've been missing by a tick or two on the price and bounces. Yeah, I know that happens sometimes, where the market just gets close, but not quite close enough. All right, so our Raptor band, very flat. Our Eagle band, very flat. Our Hawk, all kinds of yellow bars starting to creep in. The Falcon still kind of holding its composure, but just barely. We did make a higher swing high here. We'll see whether that translates into a trend change signal going the other way. Okay, back to this morning's highs. And the whole thing rather wishy-washy again. First micro macro cross here on the hawk, and I know I say all the time this is a signal I take almost without exception. You do need to balance it against the context that you see in the chart, and of course where you can cover the trade. Now it's now moved into yellow bars, so that's going to take the pressure off. But let's say we were looking at taking this. We got a couple options. First off, we could enter just above the high. Just look for renewed momentum. But once prices started to slip down below here, well then logistically it doesn't make any sense, right? Because my profit target would be where I intend to make my entry. Now remember, we're ignoring the fact that these are yellow bars for the moment. So then the question becomes, okay, if we're going to take this trade, where are we going to cover it? Given that the market is kind of choppy, well, we could shoot a trend line. That might help. So at the very least, I would think we want to cover below the trend line. But for just a few ticks more, I can cover below the swing low. And that would be a little bit more enticing. Yeah, looks like it's too bad that turned into yellow bars, because it did get up to our profit target. Okay, so here's another first micro macro cross. Let me just take a quick look what's going on across the board. All right. So we've got a first micro macro cross. Oh, darn it. I shouldn't have looked at the other charts. The same problem, right? Where are we going to cover it? Well, at the very least, we want to take this trend line into consideration. Maybe the bend here in the macro line, so somewhere down here seems like a decent spot. The danger is that the signal may drift and turn into a macro pullback. So you don't want to have your orders too tight. All right, I'm going to clear that, and let's take a look here. Okay, so we've got the eagle again. And this bar here is actually our signal bar. So the market would have engaged us here. Again, this is not something I recommend doing, but I'm going to do it because we're in the room. No, I'm not at those prices. Let's see. So all I'm trying to do here is simulate this bar right here. This was our signal bar. So we took this signal here initially, took a little bit of profit on it. Looks like had I left a looser stop instead of the break even, we would have been able to ride out that swing. And now we're working it higher again. This high of this bar is key. This whole 44, 60, 650, 60, I guess 60, 60, oh, sorry. My brain is thinking the thoughts, but they're not coming out of my mouth right. We need 4668. That's the number we're looking for. And you can tell this bar is important because the way it's waffling. See, it's going higher a little bit, it's going lower a little bit. Jim says the advanced decline getting marginally stronger, almost 1,500 on the buy, 1,260 on the sell. Oh, come on now, play nice. Need to see some buying pressure coming into the market. So we're hitting the hard edge here on the Raptor and the Eagle. Watching the Geiger counter here, hoping to see this wheel turn hard over. Back into the trend line on the Hawk. From the Raptor and the Falcon, it looks like at the very least the market owes me a test of the highs. And where are we relative to the daily? 1 second here, I'm going to build the daily chart. Okay, so on the daily, this is our high today. It looks like, what day was this? November the 11th. So about a week ago, or a little more than, no, I guess that's a week ago, isn't it? Last Wednesday, the market topped out here, took a little heat. Really great big wedge happening here on the NQ. You know, if you're following these types of patterns, the market's just really starting to wedge up. This major decline back here later in the summer, last summer, put a real wrinkle into the chart, because up until then, the NQ was just smooth sailing, just one high after the next after the next. Maybe this will turn out to be an anomaly. All right, so there's the daily. There's the problem that we're having, is that high from about a week ago seems to be causing us a little bit of grief. Okay, now that we're below, we're getting a first micro-macro cross, and again, this one not quite, it's probably going to tail off here, but it's a difficult first micro-macro cross to take. Well, in hindsight, this may turn out to be the test of the extreme, but normally we see them to be a little bit more pronounced. Of course, when you're scalping, our targets are much tighter, our profit objectives. So if you can set up a reasonable trade, so in case the market does try to do a macro pullback or something, it's still worth a poke, and you can see that even here we have hit our profit objective. Now remember, the hawk isn't the only tool that you can run tighter profit targets on. If you would like to run, a $50 target, then by all means. Here's crude oil now on the Falcon. And I think I just lost my data. Oh, that could be bad. Oh, come on. Ain't technology grand? Okay, it's really starting to tick me off now. Okay, I've got a little interruption in my data, folks. And rather than crash my computer, I'm just going to have to try to ride this out. Okay, so yeah, the Geiger counter is stuck right here. Okay, hold on. I haven't had that happen for a very long time. Nuts. Okay, well, we're going to have to disconnect and try to reconnect. All right, here we go. It's going to be a short trading day if the data doesn't hook up. All right, well, we got the data feed back. And one of my orders just got filled. I have a feeling it was gold. right, if this ever happens to you, you're going to notice that our buy order has disappeared. It's still there. It's just not here on the Eagle. So what you need to do is you need to manage it from the exchange level, and all right, I need to find it. Okay, and Tony says natural gas inventory is out in a few moments, so let's see if we can't bring those over here. Just bear with me a second while I get my charts back in order. Okay, so a little bit of a mess. I've got to hunt for my other order, see where it is hiding. Now, if you've ever thought crude oil was crazy around inventory time, that's nothing compared to natural gas. So here's the natural gas market. This is on the Falcon, and you can see the 8 ticks a little bit large for natural gas. Perhaps we should be looking at a 4 tick, a 446 setting. But this will be good enough for playing the inventory. Now, the inventory strategy is very similar. Well, it is essentially the same as what we do for crude oil. We look for the market to be in congestion, moving sideways, and giving us defined support and resistance, with the market trading somewhere in the middle just prior to the report release. Then what we want to do is we want to bracket and use our OCO function and buy above and sell below. So I'm going to use the support and resistance lines as areas to buy and sell. You can see my stop strategy not in the best place. It's a little bit too tight, so I'm going to dial it back a little bit. And you can do this on any of the tools, whether you're using the Hawk, Falcon, Eagle, or Raptor. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to unfold, I'm going to go hunting for my other order. You know, some charting platforms used to have a panic button where you could automatically hit the panic button and it would flatten all your orders. So if anything like this ever happened to you, you could punch out of a trade. Now, I just pulled over the dome to see where my order is, and it is here, but I don't see that my profit order. So my order is here, but I don't see that my profit order is still in play. Obviously, my stop loss isn't in play either. Pardon me. So, at least I know the order is still active. So I'm gonna have to pay a little bit of attention to that and manage that trade manually. Hopefully we'll get it back to a profitable position after this little bit of a decline. Now, oh here, let's put a Geiger counter on here. Where are you, Geiger counter? Okay, we're going to see the Geiger counter really light up here in a moment. Okay, stops are on. Buy and sell orders are in play. And we'll see here in a moment which way natural gas wants to go. Oh, Tony, that dome was for the NQ because I had a buy order in on the Eagle, and when I lost my connection, I had to reboot the connection, and by doing so, I lost the order on my chart. And I'm almost thinking that somehow Ninja flattened it. Well, they flattened my profit order and my stop loss, but not my entry itself. Okay, so unfortunately I had the break-even trigger in play here, but we're going to try this OCO again. We're going to buy above here now that the market broke, and we'll still sell below here. This is how crude oil used to break out from the reports. I know. And Tony says, wow, even natural gas is tame, because by comparison, natural gas would go like this, or boom, just shoot up like this within a second or two. So we encountered the secondary resistance, took a little bit of a bounce, came down here to the median line, still waffling, so that's odd. We'll stay with it just for another minute. Here on the Eagle, natural gas is starting to get a little bit more bullish, perhaps. We've tested the lows, and it looks as though the market might try to come up here, give us a rule of three type signal. Here from the daybreak lines, again, you can tell we're a little bit tight with those with this bar size that if you're trading natural gas, you may want to consider the alternate 446 settings. Oh, maybe a late filter entry signal. Oh, maybe not. Trend line changed back. All right, well, if this doesn't shake out here in a moment, we'll go back to cruising the NASDAQ. Well, there they are, folks, right dead in the middle again. So let's put that on the shelf for now. There's no love in the natural gas market today. And the NQ still wandering also. So it's one of those days. You know, I had mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. The markets don't advance or decline every single day. It used to be that you could count on, if the market was rallying, you would know it would rally for 2, 3, sometimes 4 days. Now it's to the point, if the market rallies one day, it's going to be soft the next. All right, so the hawk turning over here may be going to give us a red bar, or pardon me, a first micro macro cross. I'm looking at this green bar sell here. It was kind of characteristic of a bear flag type scenario. And speak of the devil, here it comes, that first micro macro cross lower. Can we cover it back to the high? And what are the rest of the tools doing? Oh, we're almost back toward the lows here. The morning lows. The eagle looking as though it's crossing over. Oh man, this market is so sideways right now. I would be just as happy if the Hawk retreated here and went into yellow bars. So still a first micro macro cross signal. Not as nice a first micro macro cross as we normally see. I'll throw it in there anyways. The higher it gets, the more likely it will turn out to be a reasonable trade, because of course we need that test of the extreme. But right now, neither the buyers nor sellers dominant. And this trade not giving me a warm fuzzy feeling, but the signal is there. Yeah, like Tony says, chop fest today. All right, here we go. Oh, they seem to keep hitting the bid, which would suggest that. Oh no, there they go. They're chewing through the sell orders now. We kept seeing the market stay here on the highs of the bar. Like it would hit the bar, see how it is now, and it would hold. That means it's chewing through on the buy orders. See how it is there? Good question, Tony. Tony asked, Eric, is this a new market dynamic or is it just a winter holiday? No one wants to work the market. There's a lot of stuff going on, Tony. I don't think it's the winter market yet. That kind of happens closer to the Christmas holiday, of course. Typically, the markets are fairly active at this time of the year. But, you've just had the FOMC meeting come out, and I don't follow these things really closely, but it looks like Europe is actually entertaining the notion of negative interest rates, which I've never heard of. Um, and you get all these economists playing what if, with world economies, using Europe as a guinea pig, and America won't be far behind, and Canada won't be far behind that. So we're all in the same boat. I think it's just the market is fairly content where it's at. The Nasdaq tends to be strong. Um, every time I've shorted the NQ, I ended up regretting it. Long term, I mean. Okay, the market's moved into yellow bars, so I'm going to nix the order. Um, I don't know. I don't know, Tony. The markets do have like a seasonal tendency where some weeks trading will be dead easy. And then other weeks it's like this, where you're just grinding out every single tick. guess you just got to roll with the punches a bit. Yeah, Jim says, so they're going to charge you to put money in the bank? No, I don't think it's going to come to that. You're not going to get any interest on your money, or you'll get pennies in interest. But who it's really going to affect, and from what I've read about it, the elderly and the pensioners, people who are counting on their pension fund index to um, give them money to live on. They're the ones who are going to get hit the hardest. I think you're going to see more and more seniors working the McDonald's and Walmart circuit because their pension isn't going to cover it. And for the rest of the working world that is paying into pension funds, negative interest rates are going to hit those hard. They're going to decimate them. So I have no idea what the government is thinking. But again, I'm not a world-class economist by any stretch. My eyes kind of glazed over when we started talking money supply and such in economics class. I know how it's supposed to work. I also know that it's all theory. These things that you hear about Keynesian economics and all these other different economic theories, they are just that. They are all theory. All right, so looking at natural gas here, looks like they made a poke through the top end of the trading range that we had established after the report. So we'll see. I will leave the break-even trigger in play here. The market has slowed considerably, but we'll see whether or not they can rally natural gas somewhat. The daily chart is looking more bullish for natural gas. The NQ has not really moved far from where we started the day. This whole 4660 area, 4650, we're still stuck. You're going to see if the market ever in North America, or even in Europe for that matter, brings about negative interest rates. It's just talk right now. They haven't actually done it. The logic is that the bank is going to, because it's a negative interest rate, the bank is going to pay you for taking out a mortgage. Not really. But, that's what negative interest rates imply, that, hey, the bank will pay you to borrow money. But we've all gotten ourselves into a rather big pickle economy-wise. And we're all joined at the hip on this one. So I'm still nursing my Eagle order here. I'm watching the dome just to, see what my risk is. And somebody keeps spoofing some big orders down here. Well, they're not really spoofing. They're not huge, like 500 or 600. But they're still, if you look at the sell side versus the buy side, they were still a little bit heavier on the sell side. That doesn't mean the market's going to head lower, but it's funny how several traders are in trouble now for spoofing the market. Spoofing the market is when you need a pretty fancy computer to do this, but they'll go in and they'll show a huge buy or sell order just above or below the market in an attempt to move the market in that direction, and then they'll pull the order and the market will invariably move the other way. It's totally illegal. It's called market manipulation by another name. And trading in the NQ almost dried up. Okay, we're getting a signal here on the Falcon I'm going to show you in a second, but here's a green bar sell failure that you could do, and I'd probably try to cover it down here. Again, I'm just showing you this because there's nothing really going on. If you're looking for a quality trade, I'm not sure that's going to be it. Here in the Falcon, we're generating a trend change signal, so you got an opportunity here on the Falcon. Also, pretty much the same setup as the green bar sell I just showed you. And do we have anything on the Raptor yet? Nope. But we might produce a buy signal here, which would be a soft edge buy. I know it's well past the soft edge, but we've got that all-important test to the extreme. But nothing yet. Well, if they don't shape up here in a minute, I think we're going to close up the room. I've actually got a doctor's appointment at 9 o'clock, so that'll give me a little bit of time to get ready for that. Here we come back to this whole 4660 area, which has been so instrumental today. If you take 4660 and you just draw a line right through there, you see we pretty much balance the market on either side. Yeah, things are pretty quiet. All right, you guys, maybe we will close up the room just a few minutes early, unless anybody has any question. If so, please type quickly. And then we'll be back tomorrow. Things should shake up a little bit in time for the weekend, especially given that today was a little bit on the quiet side. We might anticipate a little bit more activity tomorrow. All right, then. Okay, no questions. Good. I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.